Unlock heavenly blessings. 12 days of miraculous gratitude revealed for divine transformation. Sarah knelt in the dim light of St. Jude's Church, her heart a cacophony of despair. The stone walls echoed the whispered prayers of the weary, as fleeting shadows darted with the flicker of candlelight. She felt the weight of the world pressing down on her, a cloak of sorrow nestled tightly around her shoulders. Her beloved son, Daniel, lay gravely ill, the doctor's sympathetic gazes carrying little more than heavy, heartbreaking silence. "Dear St. Jude," she whispered, tears blurring her vision. "I cling to you, the beacon of hope for the desperate." In that hallowed moment, a sensation enveloped her, a warm embrace she could not see. With every ounce of faith, she vowed to embark on a 12-day journey of gratitude, believing that each thankfulness act would unlock blessings for her family. The first act came that very night. She cooked Daniel's favorite meal, although he barely tasted it. As she set the table, a chill washed over her, and suddenly, the candles flickered dramatically, illuminating shadows that twisted into shapes of angels. For a moment, she felt an ache of surrender to believe against all odds. Yet as days rolled into one another, her resolve was tested. "Sarah," her sister implored, "you've got to seek real answers, not this gratitude nonsense." Doubt seeped into the cracks of her once unstoppable faith. The financial burdens piled sky-high, threatening to bury her under desperation. Each day, she labored through thankfulness, but the world around her seemed to conspire against her hope. But then came a night of divine reckoning. She attended a prayer vigil at the church. Hearts swelled together as synchronized rhythms of faith soared toward heaven. The sound of hymns filled the air, mixing with the fragrance of candles and whispered concerns. Yet among the joyful chaos, Sarah's spirit fought desperately against doubt. Would gratitude truly lead to miracles? Just then, the clock struck midnight. An electrifying hush fell over the congregation. Sarah's heart pounded furiously, and a holy presence manifested in the room, a palpable energy that reached deep into her soul. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she felt an overwhelming urge to let go, to place Daniel's life in God's hands. Could her commitment to thanksgiving be the key to pull her from despair? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the prayers intensified, Sarah could feel the warmth enveloping her, filling her to the brim. A gasp echoed through the church as the miraculous began to unfold. Light shone brighter, illuminating weary eyes, lifting hearts from shadows. Hope radiated like a spiraling flame, igniting the community in awe. All felt at the wind of change, swirling among them, a divine promise. In that electric moment, as Sarah's heart crescendoed with joy, she understood, miracles bloom in the most barren fields. But as she basked in the glow of hope, she couldn't help but wonder, would her faith endure through this journey? What challenges lay ahead, and what divine blessings awaited those who dared to embrace thanksgiving amidst life's greatest storms? The days went by, each one steeped in a blend of longing and perseverance. Sarah journeyed through her 12 acts of gratitude, attempting to anchor her spirit even when despair loomed nearby. With each nightfall, she lit a candle, whispered her thanks, and carved moments of light into the shadows of her sorrow. On the second night, she found herself in the small garden outside her home. Under a blanket of stars, she knelt in the cool earth, her hands trembling in prayer. "Lord, I thank you for the grass that grows beneath my feet, for the life that pulses within it," she murmured, feeling the gentle breeze waft through her hair. It was a small act, yet in those sacred moments, an overwhelming calm began to unfurl within her heart. She began to take small actions to let her gratitude spill into the world around her. The next day, Sarah baked cookies, not only for Daniel but also for the weary nurses and doctors at the hospital. As she delivered the warm treats, she shared smiles and kind words, allowing her heart to reach out with hope. "Thank you for everything you do," she told them, her voice saturated with sincerity. With each gesture of gratitude, she could feel a shift not just within her spirit, but in the energy around her. The heaviness that once clung to her soul was being replaced with flickers of joy and connection. The hospital staff began to recognize her, greeting her with warm smiles and shared stories. Life flowed through those interactions, reminiscent of a gentle current that renewed her spirit, yet with each positive step, the shadows of doubt occasionally crept back in. One dreary afternoon, a phone call from the specialist brought grim news regarding Daniel's treatment. Sarah's heart sank. The doctor's voice was warm yet clinical. "We need to discuss the next steps. It's serious." They de-exhausted most options, giving way to fears she dared not whisper aloud. Rushing home, her heart weighed down by fear, she sank to her knees in her bedroom. The candle flickered beside her, its flame trembling in the stillness. She took a deep breath, trying to summon the courage she felt moments before. "Why, God?" she cried out, feeling her faith shake under the weight of despair. "I'm trying to find gratitude, but it's breaking me. Is this journey worth it?" And in that vulnerable moment, she opened her eyes to find the candle flickering more vividly, a dance of warmth and light. It was no longer just a flame, it transformed into a symbol, a reminder of the divine connection she had forged through her journey. A thought whispered to her, softer than the breeze, "Sometimes, the greatest strength comes in our brokenness." That night, she reached out into the darkness, embracing the uncertainty. The image of her dear son, full of life, propelled her forward. Despair had its place, but so did hope, and that hope would not be silenced. As the days went on, her actions of gratitude became a lifeline, a way to tether her soul in unwavering trust. Friends gathered unexpectedly one evening, bringing laughter and prayers, serving as signs that she was not alone in this fight. But beneath it all, Sarah wondered, how could she deepen her connection to this divine framework of gratitude? What awaited her on the other side of her longing? With each prayer, the air shimmered with promise, and she sensed that something miraculous was on the horizon. As she closed her eyes that night, a singular question echoed through her mind: what grace would tomorrow unveil? The dawn broke with a soft light that bathed Sarah's world in golden hues. It was as if the sun itself was whispering encouragement to her soul. Today was the day, she felt it, the stirrings of hope that bubbled just beneath the surface. Today, her heart was resolute, each heartbeat resonated with a new rhythm that spoke of resilience. As she sipped her morning coffee, Sarah closed her eyes and let the warmth seep into her spirit. "Thank you, Lord," she breathed. "Thank you for this new day, for the gift of today." The stillness around her seemed to agree, a gentle affirmation that filled the air with purpose. Armed with her newfound strength, she decided to explore a new act of gratitude. Instead of just looking outward, she would turn inward. She picked up a journal, one she had tucked away during darker days, and began to write. With each word, she poured out her heart, her fears, her loves, her dreams, and, yes, her gratitude. "Thank you for Daniel's laughter," she wrote, tears gathering in her eyes as she remembered the joy he brought into her life. "Thank you for friends who care, for every warm meal." As she let the words flow, each stroke of the pen was a prayer, a moment of healing. Later that day, as she walked through the park, she noticed a cluster of wildflowers dancing in the wind. They caught her breath, radiant and full of life, a reminder that even in the midst of struggle, beauty persists. She knelt down, brushing her fingers along the petals. "You're a miracle too," she said softly, "a testament to resilience." The world felt alive around her. With each step, she found herself enveloped in a sacred connection to everything around her. A lady walking her dog smiled and waved. A child's laughter rang through the air, striking a chord deep within her. These small interruptions of grace unveiled her spirit just a little more. That evening, Sarah joined her friends for a small gathering. They shared food, stories, and laughter that danced around the dim light of candles. In that circle of love, she felt the worries that had weighed her down begin to lift. Their words of comfort wrapped around her like a warm blanket. "You're not alone, Sarah. We're all in this with you." But inside, a question flickered, a gentle but insistent whisper that demanded attention. How would she navigate the days ahead? What grace would she need to uncover deeper truths? As she returned home, enveloped in a cocoon of companionship, she reached for the candle on her bedside. The flame flickered with vigor, mirroring her heart's rhythm. In that embrace of light and darkness, she sensed the presence of something greater, and then a spark of inspiration struck. What if she used her words to inspire others? Could her journey of gratitude be a beacon of hope? As she wrestled with the thought, she opened her journal again, writing, "May my story be a light for others in their own darkness." Yet, uncertainty brushed against her. Could she truly share her vulnerability? Would others resonate with her struggles? The air crackled with a divine anticipation, making her skin tingle. A single whispered phrase left her breathless, but what God had not yet revealed what awaited her beyond her fear. Would these small acts of grace unlock more than her heart? The answers danced just out of reach, and tomorrow held the promise of revelation. The next morning dawned, soft and inviting, as Sarah stirred awake, her heart still buzzing from last night's reflections. It felt as if the world outside her window was holding its breath, waiting for her next move. Quietly, she tiptoed to her journal, eager to capture the feelings dancing in her mind like light. With a deep breath, she penned, "Today, I seek to uncover the depths of gratitude." It was more than a simple call to action, it felt like a sacred invitation. The candle from the night before still cast shadows on her wall, flickering gently as if affirming her intent. Sarah took her time, allowing each thought to manifest fully, letting her spirit uncover what lay beneath the surface. "Thank you for small moments of joy," she began, her pen gliding over the paper. She wrote about the warm sunlight that cascaded through her window, the taste of her favorite tea, the comforting embrace of a friend's hug. Each word sparkled with a newfound clarity. Gratitude was becoming a wellspring, and she was merely the vessel. In an act of faith, she whispered, "Let my heart be open to all of your blessings today, Lord." This was her pursuit, a deeper encounter with the divine through recognition of the beauty surrounding her. Her morning unfolded with purpose as she ventured outside. The air was crisp, brisk against her skin, filling her with life. She wandered toward the park again, drawn by an unexplainable pull, the kind that suggested divine orchestration. As she walked along the path, she spotted the flowers once more, their vibrant colors shining like jewels against the earth. Those wildflowers had become symbols of hope and resilience for her. Kneeling before them, Sarah offered praise. Each bloom, a reminder that even in struggle, we can thrive. In that moment, silence wrapped around her, a divine stillness that seemed to hold her intentions gently, the profound awareness that she was never alone. As she rose, a figure approached, Mr. Jenkins, the elderly man who frequently walked his golden retriever near her home. Today, there was a light in his eyes she hadn't noticed before. "Morning, young lady," he called with a smile. "What brings you here today?" "Just feeling thankful for all that life has to offer," she replied, her voice soft yet firm. "Ah, gratitude has a way of transforming the spirit, doesn't it?" he said, nodding wisely. Those words echoed in her mind, each syllable resonating with truth. The conversation flowed easily between them, two souls connecting over shared gratitude. Mr. Jenkins spoke of his late wife, recounting small moments of happiness they had enjoyed together. Sarah listened, absorbing the wisdom etched in his stories. "Thankfulness is a patchwork," he said, weaving together memories that warm our hearts even in loss. As the sun climbed higher, illuminating the park, Sarah felt a palpable shift within her, as if those gentle ripples of connection were setting something much larger in motion. The foundations of her own story were solidifying, bricks of faith forming a new wall against doubt and fear. Back at her home, Sarah returned to her journal, reflecting on her encounter. "Today, I realized we share this journey," she wrote. "Through our stories, we find strength to rebuild together." But a new question beckoned, more profound and stirring than before. Could her voice truly resonate deeply enough to reach others battling their own shadows? Much like the stories Mr. Jenkins had shared, would her journey provide a glimpse of hope? With that question hanging in the air, a different kind of realization dawned upon her. Perhaps, the exploration was not just personal. What if this was just the beginning? What truth was God preparing to unveil through her journey of gratitude? The whispers of the divine hung in the air, leaving her longing for answers. The sky turned a deeper shade of blue as Sarah sat with her journal, the lingering warmth from her earlier conversation wrapping around her like a cherished blanket. She could still hear Mr. Jenkins's voice echoing in her thoughts, the emphasis on gratitude woven like delicate threads through her heart. Each stroke of her pen now felt like an act of devotion, a way to honor the connections she had made. As the sun dipped lower, painting the horizon with shades of gold and crimson, Sarah felt an urgency swell within her. Each moment of gratitude she had embraced that day whispered a promise to her spirit. Yet, that promise felt incomplete. It was as if she had only brushed the surface of something profound. She closed her eyes, longing for guidance, a divine nudge to show her the way forward. Lord, she breathed, what more can I do? How can my gratitude shine light into the lives of others? The stillness of the room allowed a quiet answer to echo through her heart. Perhaps, it was time to take her reflections beyond the pages of her journal. What if she shared her journey with others? What if she opened herself up to build connections based on shared experiences of faith? The idea sent a thrill through her, a spark igniting a flame of courage. That evening, she turned her attention to her phone, inspired. She began composing a heartfelt message to her small group at church. I've been on a journey of discovering gratitude, she typed, her fingers moving with intention. I'm thinking of starting a conversation about what it means to be thankful, even in difficult times. As she sent the message, a wave of anticipation flooded her. What stories would others bring? How many hearts had been molded in the fires of life's challenges yet remained untouched by the soothing balm of gratitude? The very thought sent a pulse of divine excitement through her. It wasn't just about her journey anymore, it was about a community willing to explore the beauty and burdens of life together. Days passed, and Sarah found herself engulfed in replies from friends, each filled with enthusiasm and stories that ranged from joyful testimonies to somber reflections. As she read each response, tears of gratitude sprung to her eyes. One friend shared how she had learned to find joy in parenting challenges. Another disclosed how she transformed her loss into a pathway to help others grieve. Each story was a thread woven into the colorful tapestry of faith, each resonating with the understanding that gratitude isn't just a response to good fortune, it's a steadfast choice we make every day. Magic formed in these connections. As plans began to be made for a gathering, Sarah sensed an unmistakable shift in her spirit. She was no longer just a vessel for gratitude, she was a beacon, inviting others to join her in the light. On the day of the gathering, Sarah prepared with an eagerness that felt holy. She prayed for open hearts and kindred spirits to come together, each carrying their own stories of hope. As she arranged the space, she envisioned laughter mingling with thoughtful silence, a sacred exchange. But just as she felt the anticipation of what was to come, a shadow of doubt slipped into her mind. What if her voice faltered? What if her journey felt too small or insignificant compared to others? Stepping back, she took a deep breath, surrendering those fears into God's hands. Just let me be a vessel, Lord, she whispered fervently, yearning for the divine transformation that awaited her. As the doorbell rang, and familiar faces began to emerge one by one, Sarah felt a swell of peace envelop her. Could these moments pave the way for a deeper understanding of her journey? As stories were shared and hearts opened, what truths about gratitude awaited uncovering? The room buzzed with an energy that confirmed she was walking towards something profound. The first to arrive was Emily, her smile as bright as the late afternoon sun filtering through the window. Sarah's heart warmed instantly. They embraced, and Emily's presence felt like a gentle reminder of divine assurance. Hey, I can't wait to hear everyone's stories, Emily exclaimed, her eyes glistening with anticipation. I've been thinking about gratitude a lot lately, too. As the room began to fill, Sarah felt a stirring in the air, an electric anticipation of connection. Each person carried a piece of their own journey, their own battles, and victories, all woven together by the unwavering thread of faith. The sounds of laughter and light conversations created a sweet symphony, each note lifting Sarah's spirit higher. Jonas, a fellow member, stepped into the circle, filling the room with his laughter. You know, I almost didn't come tonight. I was feeling overwhelmed, work's been tough, and I just wanted to stay home. His honesty struck a chord. But then I thought about what we share, he continued, and I realized I needed this. I needed to remember the good in my life. As they settled down, Sarah felt their collective energy pulsating. It was no longer just her gathering, it was a gathering of souls reaching for understanding. With everyone settled, she took a breath and began. Tonight, we're here to share gratitude, not just the easy kind, but the deep, sometimes hidden gratitude that comes from our struggles, she said, her voice steady. I believe that in sharing, we will uncover something beautiful together. The group nodded, as if her words mirrored their own hidden thoughts. One by one, they began to share. Emily spoke about how infertility had caused her pain, but through it, she found gratitude in the support of friends. As she shared, Sarah watched Emily's voice quiver with emotion, words laced with raw vulnerability that drew murmurs of understanding from the group. Then, it was Jonas's turn. He shared an old family issue that had hung over him for years, a dark cloud that often prevented his heart from soaring. But through prayer and reflection, he found gratitude for the lessons hidden in every argument, every tear. It took time, but I learned that old wounds can heal, he concluded, his eyes shining with newfound light. Knowing I can grow from pain helps me appreciate every small step forward. Tears glistened in many eyes as the group carried each other's burdens in the silence that followed, a sacred moment of understanding and empathy. As stories unfolded, Sarah felt the presence of something greater. It swirled gently around them, binding them in a precious tapestry of shared experience. The room felt alive, as if each word spoken echoed through heaven itself. They were becoming more than friends, they were becoming a family of faith. What struck Sarah most was the unexpected transformations, the way hesitation turned to courage when hearts openly shared. Each gratitude transformed into something deeper, igniting an awareness of the richness residing in their journeys. Yet, amidst the divine beauty enveloping the gathering, a thought tugged at her heart. What if they could take this beyond their circle? What if their stories, woven together, could reach even more people? Maybe we could create a space for others to join us, she ventured, excitement bubbling within her. Share their stories, too. I can't help but think that our collective journeys could inspire even more hearts. The room fell quiet once again, but this time it was thick with possibility. Was this the path God was leading her toward? A community radiating gratitude outward, hope vibrated in the air, and Sarah smiled. They were at the brink of something remarkable, something transformative. But as smiles turned to whispers and ideas began to flow, deep within her spirit, a question echoed louder than the rest: could she truly guide others without straying from her own path of faith? As prayer engulfed the room and their stories continued to flow, the answer loomed just on the horizon, waiting to be revealed. The energy in the room pulsed as each heart opened wider. Sarah's thoughts swirled, mingling with the divine presence that seemed to envelop them. She felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Could they truly form a community that rippled outward, touching lives far beyond their circle? As she looked around, her eyes met those of Emily, who was still glowing from her earlier sharing. You know, Sarah, Emily began tentatively, I think a community like that could really help people. We all need connection and support. If we could foster that, who knows what could happen? Jonas nodded in agreement. Yeah, it's something I've longed for. If we gather more stories, we could shine light into some dark places. I can't tell you how much it means to have a space where you can just be yourself. Their words struck chords deep within Sarah's soul. She had seen the light rise in them with each confession, each moment of heartfelt sharing. But the weight of responsibility pressed against her heart. Could she lead such a movement? She felt small, like a single candle flickering against the vastness of the night. Yet, as she looked at her friends, the flame in her heart began to swell, fueled by their enthusiasm. Maybe we could start small, she offered, her voice gaining steadiness. We could meet once a week, kind of as a support group. Share our experiences, our struggles, just like this, but open it up. A ripple of agreement swept through the room, and a buzz of ideas followed. They began brainstorming ways to reach others' social media pages, community bulletins, and local invitations. There was something sacred about their collective excitement, as if the Holy Spirit was moving among them, igniting each thought to burn brighter. Then, just as an idea swept through at a surge, Emily's eyes lit up as she said, what if we also include a moment of prayer or reflection for everyone's journey? I believe that speaking those intentions can bring healing. The suggestion resonated deeply. Sarah felt her spirit leap with joy. Could this truly be a bridge to bring even more souls into the fold? It was the divine light of connection dawning upon her. They moved from possibilities to actions, each person animated with purpose. The vision of hosting a gathering blossomed into the air, stretching beyond what any of them had imagined. There was tangible excitement in the room, a sacred energy that felt like an invitation from above. As the evening flowed toward its close, a silence fell, a sacred pause that felt heavy with meaning. Everyone's eyes reflected wonder and hope, a deep understanding that they were about to embark on a journey together, guided by faith and connection. Yet, amidst all this anticipation, a voice emerged within Sarah's heart, asking her the crucial question: would they be strong enough to face the challenges and fears that would surely come? How could this fragile movement stand against doubts and trials? And as the prayer circle formed to conclude their night together, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and uncertainty. She knew they would need divine strength for what lay ahead. This was merely the beginning. Had the time come for action? The prayer washed over them, a wave of tranquility flowing from heart to heart, binding them together. But as they said their amen, another question lingered: how would their faith transform not just their lives, but those of everyone they reached? With that question invoking both hope and mystery, the night came to an end, but the beginning of something much grander hovered just out of reach. As dawn broke over the horizon, Sarah awoke with a heart full of purpose. The night's gathering played over in her mind like a cherished melody. Each face around her felt etched in her memory, a reminder of the sacred bond they had begun to weave together. She sensed that their journey was not merely a personal endeavor but a divine assignment. The sun cast a warm glow through her window, filling the room with golden light that seemed to whisper encouragement. Sarah knelt in prayer, seeking guidance for what lay ahead. Each word spoken to God felt alive, like a conversation with a trusted friend. In that sacred moment, she felt a surge of clarity washing over her, a gentle nudge to step forward with conviction. Despite her initial doubts, she understood that they didn't have to bear this burden alone. Together, they could create a refuge for those yearning for connection. As she leaned into this realization, a surge of peace filled her spirit, a quiet assurance that God was with them every step of the way. As the days unfolded, excitement rippled through the community. They met with joyful anticipation, gradually bringing more people into their circle. Every meeting pulsed with energy as stories flowed freely and hearts opened wide. Each shared struggle developed layers of understanding and empathy, drawing them closer together. Fragile bonds transformed into steadfast ties, each connection illuminated with divine grace. Emily's idea of incorporating prayer resonated even deeper than Sarah had imagined. They took turns leading moments of prayer and reflection, inviting the presence of the Holy Spirit to guide them. Written prayers spread like wildfire, posted on community boards and shared online, reaching those who felt lost or unheard. The sacred space became alive with faith, laughter, and tears of vulnerability. Jonas dedicated his talents to creating a website. "This will help us connect even further," he declared, his eyes sparkling with the brilliance of possibility. When the site launched, it became a beacon for many. Messages flooded in from strangers who had stumbled across their work, thanking them for reaching out. Remarkably, some even asked for prayer requests. Each request a chance to connect more deeply, to bring light into moments of darkness. But as their community grew, so did the challenges. Sarah felt the weight of responsibility pressing upon her. What if they turned away those in need? What if their intentions didn't resonate? Each doubt wrapped around her heart like a vine, threatening to choke out her confidence. New faces brought fresh stories and burdens, and Sarah sensed that not everyone would be welcomed as openly as they had hoped. Unease lingered, echoing in her heart. Each new struggle shared exposed her fragility and humanity. Yet every prayer offered was like a balm, healing their wounds and strengthening their resolve. During one such meeting, an unexpected visitor joined them. A weary soul, eyes clouded with uncertainty, sat at the edge of the circle. As they welcomed him, Sarah felt a prompt within her, a divine invitation to truly listen. As the newcomer shared his story, the group fell silent, each heart drawn to the raw authenticity emanating from him. In that moment, a hush enveloped the room, a reminder of the sacred space they had vowed to create. The challenge now loomed larger than ever: how to balance growth while remaining true to their mission of love and acceptance. In the closing prayer, as they raised their voices together, Sarah sat still, sensing the energy shift. Had they really become the embodiment of their intentions? Or had they merely scratched the surface of something much deeper? She whispered a silent prayer for guidance, and as they said amen, a flicker of hope ignited within her. What awaited them now as they stepped further into the unknown? Would their community hold strong in the storm ahead, or would they falter when tested? The promise of immense growth loomed large against the backdrop of uncertainty. And while her heart knew the journey wouldn't always be easy, the glow of shared faith encouraged Sarah. What, then, would the next chapter reveal as they forged ahead? Could they cultivate a genuine community, one that reflected the boundless love they sought to share? The days passed, revealing both beauty and struggle. Each gathering felt like a dance between joy and the weight of their mission. Sarah carried this dance within her heart, swaying between hope and doubt, trusting that every step they took was purposeful. As the sunlight streamed through the windows during their weekly meeting, a palpable optimism filled the air. The newcomer, David, had slowly become part of their circle. His laughter, once shy, now rippled through the gathering like a gentle breeze, inviting others to join in. Yet, there were still shadows lurking in the corners of Sarah's mind. Each man and woman before her was a vessel of stories, but at times, she felt the weight of carrying these burdens, even as she voted for joy. One bright afternoon, as fresh flowers adorned the table, Emily shared an idea that echoed like thunder in Sarah's soul. "What if we dedicate a meeting to gratitude?" she asked, her eyes glistening. "A time to reflect on the blessings we have received, turning our focus to God and lifting our collective spirits." The idea sparked a fire. Conversations began buzzing, hearts opened wider, and soon enough, preparations were underway. They set up a space filled with gratitude notes, written prayers, and symbolic tokens of appreciation. The room brimmed with anticipation, each person eager to share their stories of thankfulness with the community. As evening approached, a warm glow illuminated the circle where friends gathered. David offered to start, his voice steady yet vulnerable. "Reflecting on my journey, I'm thankful for a second chance." Each gaze turned lovingly toward him as he recounted how his struggles with addiction had once suffocated his light. "But through this community, I found hope, and that has transformed my life." The room responded, a chorus of amens and murmurs of support filled the air, a spirit of encouragement that knitted them closer. One by one, others followed suit, unveiling their gratitude. Each story was a delicate tapestry, reminding them all of the grace that life had to offer. Even amidst trials, tears flowed freely. Sarah, ignited by the authenticity of the moment, felt warmth radiating from her heart. Each testimony felt like a pebble cast into the waters of their gathering, sending ripples of grace expanding outward. In this sacred space, she saw new faces put aside their inhibitions, rising to share their hearts and burdens. But suddenly, a silence fell over the group when Jonah spoke up. "What if our thankfulness leads us to realize there's more we can do?" His brow furrowed in thought, eyes searching the room. Are we truly doing enough to invite others in? That question hung like a star in the night sky, beautiful yet daunting. Murmurs of uncertainty filled the room as heartbeats quickened. Sarah's throat tightened. What if they had gathered for obscured beauty? She felt a tremor of fear mixed with excitement. In that moment of stillness, something shifted. A spirit of revelation surged through Sarah. This community was built upon the understanding that gratitude leads to action, igniting a fire within them all, a call to extend love beyond their circle. With renewed passion, Sarah stood. "Let us not only express gratitude, but let us take this energy and wrap our arms around the world waiting for our light." Her voice rose with rising conviction. As the group erupted in agreement, they committed to a project that could tangibly express their gratitude. It was time to reach out beyond their inner circle, a divine calling leading to deeper connections. Excitement coursed through her, but as quickly as hope filled her heart, a question loomed large. Could they truly stretch their arms wide enough to embrace the world outside? And what barriers would they face as they stepped onto this new path? Would the act of gratitude transform this small community into something greater, or would they succumb to the challenges ahead? An air of expectancy wrapped around them, leaving Sarah breathless with both anticipation and apprehension. As they closed in prayer, the words echoed within. What divine truths awaited them just beyond their current understanding? Would their courage fortify their resolve in ways they had yet to imagine? The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm golden light over the gathering as Sarah breathed in the sweetness of hope mingled with the aroma of fresh flowers. It was a day that felt profoundly significant, a chapter of their collective journey ready to unfold. Each face around her radiated purpose, igniting a fire in her belly to lead the way forward. As everyone settled in, laughter wrapped around them like a shawl against the chill of uncertainty. It was time to act on the idea that had blossomed, to turn gratitude into tangible connection. Tonight, I want us to share our vision, Sarah announced, her heart pounding. Because what we've built here, it can lead to something greater. A ripple effect of love and faith. A murmur of agreement filled the room. Emily looked at her with wide eyes, her voice sparking with excitement. What if we organize an outreach day? We could gather supplies, serve meals at the local shelter, or even host a community event that invites others in. Yes, echoed Jonas, a spark igniting in his eyes. Let us show everyone the power of gratitude enacted through service. Imagine the lives we can touch. Cheers of agreement rose around the circle, fueling their excitement. However, beneath the surface, Sarah recognized shadows of fear. Doubts hovered like storm clouds. What if they fell short? What if their well-intentioned efforts couldn't sustain a reach beyond their group? But she quashed those thoughts, reminding herself of the strength they had found together. Let us outline a plan, Sarah encouraged. With each step, she felt a refreshing current of faith. They began brainstorming logistics, gathering food, reaching out to local organizations, organizing activities for children. Ideas flowed like a river, and for every fear that flickered, hope surged stronger. As the meetings progressed through the weeks, anticipation escalated. They decorated the church basement with colorful posters, adorned tables with baked goods, and collected donations. The energy in each gathering was alive, the air thrumming with divine purpose. Yet, the doubt that occasionally whispered in her ear could not be completely silenced. Would they genuinely make a difference? Finally, the day arrived. Sarah stood outside the church, feeling the cool breeze against her face. People began to arrive. Smiling faces flowed through the doors, some familiar, and others completely new. It was a melting pot of stories and backgrounds, each person carrying a piece of hope and hunger for connection. Welcome! Sarah exclaimed, her heart soaring beneath the weight of that moment. Today is not just about gratitude, it's about opening our hearts to each other. She took a deep breath, allowing the presence of the Holy Spirit to wash over her. The day unfolded like a beautiful tapestry. Laughter echoed as children painted cheerful faces, while adults connected over shared experiences and food. Sarah moved through the crowd, hugging new friends, exchanging gratitude with each smile and thank you, feeling the divine pulse of connection. As meal preparation began, she noticed a quiet figure leaning against the doorway. It was David, the newcomer who had once shared his struggles. With joy bubbling in her heart, she beckoned him over. David, come help us serve. With a hesitant smile, he joined her, and she could see the weight lifting from his shoulders as he stepped into the warm embrace of community. The transformation within him was palpable. This was not just an event, it was the manifestation of their journey, a divine orchestration knitting their hearts together. Later, as the day came to a close, Sarah stood before the gathering, her heart swelling with gratitude. Thank you for showing up today. Each of you brought light into this space, reminding us that when we act in gratitude, we create ripples of hope. Together, we can keep this light shining. As the crowd responded with applause, tears filled her eyes. In that moment, she knew they had created something sacred. This wasn't an end, but a beautiful beginning. New friendships, shared laughter, and acts of kindness had intertwined to form an undeniable bond of faith and love. As they closed with prayer, Sarah's heart sang with gratitude. She understood now, they had not only forged connections among themselves but had also extended the hand of God to those in need. The ministry was far greater than any single effort. It was a collective breath of love becoming a symphony of grace. In the weeks to come, they would face new challenges, and doubts might return. Life's trials would test their resolve, but they were bound now stronger together than apart. Lord, she silently prayed, bring us the strength to persevere and remind us daily of the power we hold in gratitude. As she opened her eyes, an unmistakable peace filled her heart, a warm embrace of God's love. She was ready for whatever lay ahead, surrounded by a community that dared to be light in a world often shadowed by darkness. The journey of gratitude had transformed not only her, but it rippled outward. So much was unfolding, and she could not wait to see where God would lead them next. Now is the time to take action. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help this message spread. Comment your reactions and share your testimonies about this transformational journey. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this divine manifestation. Let us together spread the light of gratitude and hope.